What does Jesus' church look like? At a time when what we mean as church has changed in so many ways, we have an opportunity to look at what it's all about. But what should the church be like? Do we simply try and slot back into an old model regardless, or is this a new step for the church to rediscover itself? Maybe we need to focus on kingdom rather than church. From our parable, we find Jesus talking about finding the wanderers and bringing them home. So one thing is about being home with the shepherd. This presents a mission, but that's not always what we think about when we think about church. What words would you attribute when you hear that word, church? Gathering, worship, singing together, being together, prayer, sharing communion, maybe other things like wealth or a building or an institution. When Paul and Luke write about the church, they describe the things that they do together, like some of these things we might think about. And Paul's theology puts Jesus at the centre, the head of a body. Is that how we see the church? Everything revolving around Jesus? I wonder what we would do if we were to start a church from scratch. If we see a church like that with Jesus at the centre, I suspect we'd want to find out as much as we could about Jesus. Just from this short passage, what do we see? We see a shepherd who cares, is focused on finding a lost sheep, and doesn't give up. It's a story that reminds us of a father's will and the value that he places on the least in our eyes. Jesus' church, if you like, was a small group gathered who worshipped God but learnt about the kingdom in real and practical ways, mostly through Jesus encountering different people. So they saw Jesus teaching about kingdom becoming real before their eyes. The papers at the weekend had an article about the go-ahead for the prayer wall to be built, an infinity-shaped wall made up of 1 million answers to prayers, the inspiration of a Christian chaplain. It seems to me that this is one example of real church. Jesus coming to life before our eyes in miracles of answered prayer, and an amazing statement to our society. Is this something we can rediscover in a way that builds his church far wider than a building or a service? Something real, something focused on Jesus himself. Many of the things we associate with church about gathering and singing and communion are things we can't do safely at the moment, which is why our public worship is kept online. But can we still be his church without these public gatherings? I believe we can, finding ways that he comes alive in our day-to-day existence, glimpses of his kingdom here, today. Maybe this is a time for rediscovering and allowing a reshaping of ourselves and the church under Jesus, the Good Shepherd.
not trust the sweetest friend, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Come on, every voice. My hope is built on nothing less than Jesus' blood and righteousness. I dare not trust the sweetest friend, but wholly trust in Jesus' name. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak and made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is the Lord, Lord our when darkness seems to hide His face, I rest on His unchanging grace. In every high and stormy gale, my anchor holds within the veil. My anchor holds within the veil. Oh, Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord our He is Christ alone, Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord our Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord our He shall come with trumpet sound. Oh, may I then in Him be found. Oh, yeah. Dressed in His righteousness alone, faultless stand before the throne.